vpod.ai, your source for information. This podcast is sponsored by Stonefly, your trusted solution provider and advisor in enterprise storage, backup, disaster recovery, hyperconverged and VMware, Hyper-V, Proxmox cluster, AI servers, and public and private cloud. Check out stonefly.com or email your project requirements to sales@stonefly.com.
Okay, let's unpack this. Ever feel like, I don't know, you're just pushing a boulder uphill with your business?
Yeah, or maybe you're just standing there looking at all the options and it's like, where do I even begin?
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into something that might act as a bit of a compass.
Oh, what's that?
It's about understanding how your own natural inclinations, your personality, might actually point you towards the business model that's the best fit for you.
Ah, okay. Aligning who you are with what you do. Makes sense.
Right. We're going to look at 5, let's call them common personality types you see in founders and leaders. And we'll try to match them up with business models where they often, seem to thrive based on real-world stuff. Okay, so the goal for the listener, for you listening right now, is what?
It's really to gain some insight, maybe some clarity on which business path might feel more natural, more effective based on how you're wired.
That's a really interesting way to frame it, this idea of natural alignment.
Yeah.
Well, it just makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How often do we kind of ignore our own, inherent strengths or preferences when we're building something?
Totally. We chase the trends or what looks profitable on paper.
Exactly. But maybe the real key, the sustainable key, is just knowing ourselves a bit better.
Absolutely. So let's jump into the first type. We're calling this one the architect.
Okay, the architect. Tell me more.
This is someone who gets a really deep satisfaction from the process of creation itself, perfecting systems, designing experiences.
Right, like someone who loves designing a really intricate machine, maybe.
Yeah.
The beauty is in the design, the function.
Precisely. It's not necessarily about getting constant applause or feedback. They find the reward in the thing itself, like a museum curator polishing an exhibit.
And they're probably pretty comfortable working alone, driven by that internal vision.
Very much so. They have this kind of internal blueprint they're trying to bring to life.
Okay, so in business terms, that points towards models where they can really control the final product, right? Something that can run almost on its own once built.
You got it. Which is why the course creator model often fits the architect so well.
Like online courses, templates, maybe software, knowledge products.
Exactly. Things that, once you've built them, maybe refine them, they can be used by lots of people without needing your constant direct input.
It's like they build their masterpiece and then it kind of goes out into the world.
Yeah. And the scalability there is huge, right?
Oh, definitely. That initial effort is massive, I imagine, getting it just right.
For sure.
But once it's done, it can help so many people. It's a form of leverage, really. Amplifying impact without being in every single interaction.
Let's take an example. Say a $397 online course on using Photoshop, specifically for wedding photographers.
Okay, very specific.
The architect might spend months crafting that, pouring everything into it. Then it can sell over and over.
So their typical week might look different.
Yeah, maybe a big focus on lead generation, building their email list, attracting students, but probably fewer actual one-on-one client commitments.
Which gives them that control over their schedule, that autonomy.
That's the big pro. Sales while you sleep, low-touch fulfillment, working when and where you want. Asynchronous work.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
But what's the catch? For someone driven by their own internal standards, what's the main challenge?
That's a great question. I think it's the flip side of that freedom.
Meaning?
Well, without those external deadlines, without a client waiting, you need huge self-direction.
Ah, right. Motivation has to come from within. You need to push yourself to market it, to update it.
Exactly. The passion for the craft itself, for the creation, has to be the engine. Otherwise, it can stall.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the architect. Who's next?
Okay, let's shift gears. Type 2, the fixer.
The fixer. Sounds like someone who likes problems.
They love problems, especially new, unexpected ones. Each challenge is like a fresh adventure, a puzzle to solve. Think Indiana Jones diving into a new tomb.
Huh. Okay, I get the picture. They thrive on the novelty, the learning that comes from tackling something different each time. Dynamism is key.
Precisely. They're not looking for routine. They enjoy digging into unique issues and helping people through them.
So the business model.
It's got to be custom service.
Right. Consultants, specialized agencies, anyone providing bespoke solutions.
Yeah, people who dive deep into a specific client's unique situation and build something just for them.
That model really lets them flex those problem-solving muscles constantly in all sorts of different ways, tailored solutions.
And the sales process reflects that, right? It's
Yeah.
usually about discovery calls, really getting under the hood of the client's problem.
Leading to a custom bid, maybe a retainer agreement.
Exactly. You see offers like monthly retainers for X hours or Y support tickets or flat bid projects like a custom website build, even those high-intensity VIP days.
So a fixer's week probably looks pretty different from the architect's.
Oh, definitely. Likely packed. Lots of sales calls, client progress calls, and then deep focus time doing the actual client work. Their calendar is often driven by client needs.
More calendar intensive for sure.
But here's a big plus for the fixer. They often don't need a massive audience to build a really substantial business.
Because the value is so high touch and personalized.
Exactly. They can hit their goals with fewer, but perhaps larger clients.
Okay, but challenges. I'm sensing some potential pitfalls here.
For sure. Number one is often scope creep.
Ah, yes. The project that never ends, but keeps growing.
Right. And the sales process itself can be intense. Crafting those custom proposals takes time and effort. It's not just clicking buy now.
And I imagine the client relationships can be quite intense, emotionally involved.
They definitely can be, which means setting clear boundaries is absolutely crucial. You have to protect your time and energy.
Boundaries. Got it. Crucial for the fixer. Okay, who's personality type number 3?
Number three is the teacher.
Okay, fairly self-explanatory, I guess.
Well, yes and no. This person loves translating complex ideas into simple concepts. They find genuine reward in seeing others get it. That light bulb moment.
Right. Their motivation is really about sharing knowledge, empowering people through understanding. Education is the core driver.
So naturally, the business model that fits like a glove is training.
Makes sense. Workshops, group coaching, maybe seminars, corporate training.
Any format where they can directly teach and facilitate learning, usually in a group setting.
How does this differ from the fixer's custom service, then? It's still human delivered.
Good question. The key difference is usually a more fixed methodology or curriculum. The deliverables are often standardized, even if the delivery is live and interactive.
Okay, so they have a set way of teaching something, but they deliver it personally.
Exactly. Let's use a slightly absurd example to make it stick.
Yeah.
Imagine a company paying, say, $6,000 for a one-day on-site training for their team on how to make perfect toast.
Okay. Perfect toast training. Memorable.
The teacher comes in with their proven toast-making methodology, their slides, their exercises. The content is fixed, but the delivery is human.
Got it. And their schedule.
It can be predictably irregular. You might have really intense weeks where you're delivering training back to back.
Right. Event weeks.
And then maybe quieter weeks focused on developing new material, marketing, or just having more free time.
The upside seems to be leverage again compared to custom work. Reusable materials, right?
Yeah.
Presentations, workbooks.
Definitely. Once you've built that perfect toast workshop, you can deliver it multiple times. So it's often more profitable than pure custom service because you're leveraging that content. And the processes are usually pretty fixed.
But what's the main challenge for the teacher?
I'd say it's the performance aspect. When you're on stage leading a training, you have to be engaging, professional, knowledgeable. You need endurance.
Yeah, there's a pressure to perform, to keep the energy up, make sure everyone's learning.
Absolutely. And unlike the sometimes more fluid nature of fixing problems, you generally need to stick to the schedule, honor the commitments. It's less about following your emotions in the moment.
That reliability is key. People are counting on you to guide them through that specific learning path. Consistency matters.
Okay, moving on to number 4, the craftsman.
The craftsman. Okay, how does this differ from the architect or the fixer?
The craftsman isn't usually excited about starting completely from scratch every single time like the fixer might be. Their passion is more about perfecting their craft, homing their skills through repetition and refinement. They aim to become a true master, a leader through expertise.
So motivated by continuous improvement within a defined skill set, deepening their mastery.
Exactly. Their drive is that deep commitment to quality and getting better and better at what they do.
Interesting. So what business model suits the craftsman?
This is where productized service really shines.
Productized service. Explain that a bit more.
Think of it as a sweet spot. It blends a fixed method with a custom deliverable. They have a defined process for getting a result, but the final output is unique to each client.
Okay, so it balances their love for applying their honed skills consistently, but with enough variety from different clients.
Precisely, it lets them deliver reliable excellence without getting bored or starting from zero each time.
Can you give an example?
Sure, maybe a $5,000 brand redesign package. The designer has a very set process discovery, mood boards, specific revision rounds, final file delivery.
Right, the process is productized.
But the actual logo, the color palette, the brand guide, those are custom outcomes unique to that client.
Okay, I see. So it sits somewhere on a spectrum between the teacher's fixed training and the fixer's totally custom work.
Exactly. In terms of rigidity, it's in the middle. Their weekly schedule might look a bit like the fixer's client work is central, but maybe fewer sales calls?
Why fewer sales calls?
Because the offer is much more defined. It's not a custom quote every time. People often know what they're getting up front.
Right, it's easier to explain and sell. It has a specific promise.
People often call it the best of all worlds because you can sometimes bake in elements of courses or coaching alongside the core service deliverable.
So the pros are clear, easier to sell, often simpler sales process, maybe even self-checkout sometimes, predictable delivery.
Yeah. But the challenges, you need really strong processes. Consistency is everything.
If the process breaks down, the model falls apart.
Exactly. And you really have to pick a good promise. You need to nail down what specific outcome are you delivering for which specific person in what specific way.
Because if that promise is fuzzy or tries to be everything to everyone,
Then selling actually becomes harder, not easier. You lose that clarity.
that clarity of the value proposition is crucial. Removes ambiguity, builds trust. Okay, that makes sense for the craftsman. Who's our final type?
Last but not least, type 5, the host.
The host. Okay, like a party host.
Sort of. This personality is motivated by connecting people. They genuinely enjoy facilitating interaction, building communities. They see the magic happen when smart people get together.
Ah, so their value creation is in the connection itself, creating meaning through relationships and networking online or off.
Precisely. Impact through connection. They love bringing people together.
So the obvious business model here is probably something group-based.
Absolutely. An online membership or a group program is often the perfect fit.
Like a paid community, maybe a mastermind group.
Exactly. These models usually have some fixed methods or content, maybe some fixed deliverables like resources or calls, but the real juice is the human interaction, the community vibe they foster.
So it's kind of like training, but the focus is less on the host teaching directly and more on connecting the members to each other.
You nailed it. They create the space for connection and shared learning.
What are some common offers here?
Could be anything from, say, a $200 a month membership with a forum and group calls, all the way up to a $50,000 a year exclusive mastermind, or even a $5,000 a ticket live event.
Wow, big range. And the weekly schedule for, let's say, a high-volume membership host.
Probably fewer direct one-on-one client calls than a fixer or craftsman, but potentially significant time spent inside the community, facilitating discussions, answering questions asynchronously, creating content, planning events or calls.
Lots of community management.
Yeah, the pros are definitely flexibility location, oftentimes. You can leverage reusable content or discussions, and that potential for consistent recurring revenue if you keep engagement and value high is really attractive.
But the challenges, I can imagine a few.
Oh yeah, there's the content hamster wheel, always needing something new.
And the engagement hamster wheel, keeping people interacting and finding value month after month.
Right, and depending on the model, high touch, low volume versus low touch, high volume, you either get more people headaches.
Like managing interpersonal dynamics in a small group.
Exactly, or you get more tech headaches managing the platform, the scale, the automation for a large membership.
It's a trade-off. People headaches or tech headaches?
Yeah.
Okay, that covers the 5 types.
Now, just briefly, let's touch on this idea of leverage.
Okay, how does that fit in?
Well, think about how many clients one person can serve effectively in each model. The architect with a course, very high leverage. One creation serves many.
Right, while the fixer, doing custom work, that's low leverage, very one-to-one, or maybe one-to-few.
Exactly. And the teacher, craftsman, and host models fall somewhere in between, depending on the specifics.
So thinking about leverage helps you consider scale. Like, do you want to build a big team eventually, or stay solo, reach thousands indirectly, or work deeply with a few.
Precisely. It's another lens to look through when you're considering which model feels right for your aspirations and working style.
That's a really useful way to connect it all back.
So as you've been listening to all this, maybe thinking about yourself or people you know, which of these types, resonated the most?
Yeah, did the architect's focus on creation click? Or the fixer's love for problem solving? The teacher's joy in explaining?
Or maybe the craftsman's dedication to mastery? Or the host's passion for connection?
And did any of the match business models spark an idea, maybe validate something you're already doing, or suggest a potential pivot?
Remember, this isn't about rigidly boxing yourself in. It's more about understanding your natural tendencies, your grain.
So you can build something that feels more authentic, more sustainable, maybe even just easier for you.
Finding that sweet spot, right? Where your strengths meet the demands and rewards of the model.
That's where effectiveness and hopefully fulfillment really lie.
vpod.ai, your source for information. This podcast is sponsored by Stonefly, your trusted solution provider and advisor in enterprise storage, backup, disaster recovery, hyperconverged in VMware, Hyper-V, Proxmox cluster, AI servers, and public and private cloud. Check out stonefly.com or email your project requirements to sales@stonefly.com.